Hey, what's up YouTube? Just a follow-up video here. 97 Chevy Blazer. I noticed that I was going to do a how-to video on how to do the fuel pump, but to be completely honest, guys, it's winter time in Pennsylvania, and I managed to find someone to actually help me do the fuel pump, so I did not want to mess around with trying to record video and stuff. I was lucky enough to find someone to help me, so just didn't have the patience to record. So I do apologize. I will do some more how-to videos this summer, though, once it warms up outside. What I wanted to show you here was I had a 97 two-door Blazer, Chevy Blazer, and the problem I was having was the fuel gauge was ridiculously off. I mean, it would half a tank, it was reading empty. So wanted to point something out to you, which is really a common thing on these, is the when you're dealing with the sending unit. The sending unit and the pump come as one piece on these. The pump actually sits down inside there where that tube goes down in there. That's actually the fuel pump. Now, if you look at this, they sell it as a whole assembly. You can buy kits where you can buy just the pump only, but you know what, guys, when you're tearing that tank apart, it's a pain. So replace the whole thing. Okay, now this was replaced at one time. This is not the factory. Now the reason why the fuel gauge wasn't working, I'm going to try to show you here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but probably not. I don't know. But anyhow, that is all burnt in there. I don't know if you can see the burn marks. That is what they call a resistor. The resistor controls the amount of resistance and juice that's sent to the gauge as far as electric current, and that displays what level of gas. Now this is the float mechanism on here, which basically, as you add gas, it goes up, and then it reads the resistance to the gauge, and then as it goes down, the resistance, I believe, lowers. Down here is the sock. This is the pre-filter to the pump. This is what keeps contaminants and large debris from getting into it. That basically just snaps right on there. It has these little rubber feet on here. That's what it actually sits on the bottom of the tank to keep it from sliding around. But this sucker basically just goes down into the tank like so. And then there's a snap ring, a metal snap ring, which, by the way, if you're dealing with an older vehicle, I highly suggest picking one of those up before you even start this job. I reused mine because I was stuck. I was in a jam. I was trying to get this done, but my snap ring was pretty rusted and pretty shot, so it is holding it. It does look secure, but if I ever have to do this again, I'm going to be replacing it. Now, when you look at this, this is spring-loaded. There's actual springs, as you can see, that's built into this, and those springs is what holds the pump down into the tank, and when you put the snap ring on these lips here on the top of the tank, that's what holds it down in there and keeps it from bouncing all over the place. You have the fuel delivery line right here as the F. This is the one that actually supplies the fuel. It has those GM plastic quick connects on there. Be careful taking those off. Those break so easy, and you do not want to mess your day up. When you do get them off, they do sell a disconnect tool, quick connect or disconnect or whatever they call it, tool that you can buy. You can get them at Harbor Freight for like $6, and it enables you to pop that off there easily. And then this one here, I broke this one, but I just replaced it with a piece of hose and some hose clamps. This does not actually contain any fuel pressure. All this is the line that goes to the charcoal canister, the breather. This is the return line right here. This is the one that the gas flows back from the fuel injectors. Whatever gas was not needed at the fuel injection just flows back through some lines and goes into the return. It has a little R on there for return. This is a Carter. I've heard some good things about them, but I prefer AC Delco. This is the actual pressure, tank pressure sensor here. It detects the pressure in the tank and lets your computer know if there's a fuel or an issue with pressure or an evap system leak. Now, the one thing I did have to do is, as you see this 4-pin connector right here, the new AC Delco one did not come with this. This is the one that my factory plug went right into. I had to cut and splice and solder, and then I did heat shrink, and then I electrical taped the crap out of it to get it together, so I don't have any issues with shorts or any breaks in the connection for continuity. But it comes with like a flat connector that goes on here instead of a square connector. So I did have to use the wiring diagram that came with the new AC Delco pump and sending unit to wire that up. But this is it, guys, and that's where my problem was. The other issue too is if you look in here, you can see all that play there. Every time you go around a corner, the gauge would float all over the place because this thing would lose its contact with that resistor. That metal resistor has little tiny metal leads on there that run up and down on the resistor. So that's what did it. That's why the fuel gauge. So all is well. The other thing I had to replace was the filler neck. If you notice right there, see that hole? That hole has actually been causing me an off and on check engine light for a while now. You can see how this is all looked like it got wet right there. That's where fuel actually was seeping out of that hole around that hose, where this rubber hose that goes from here to the tank. This is the breather now. The other thing too is if you look in there, there's supposed to be a ball in there, a little plastic ball, sort of like they use on shop vacs. So if you tip your shop vac over, it keeps the water from getting into the motor of the shop vac. So basically what this is that ball is to prevent gas from splashing up when you go around a corner up into the filler neck and into the cap. Now mine is actually probably bouncing around inside my tank right now because I didn't realize when I had to siphon gas out of this so that I could drop the tank. Yeah, well, I pushed that ball right out of there and it's probably floating around my tank right now. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I just wanted to mention that to you guys so you're aware of that. But this one's in some pretty crusty shape. Now this is different design from the 4-door. That's a grounding strap, which I put a new one on and found I had to replace that because mine was, the ground was just shot. So, and that just keeps, when you're going to add gas, that keeps a static charge from hitting that and blowing you up basically when you get gas. So, filler neck and pump both replaced. So that's what it looks like, guys. Now I'm going to show you the vehicle. This is the 97 two-door Blazer. So I'll take a walk over here. So this is my, you also, if you get the Dorman replacement instead of the factory replacement, well, you may even have to at the factory, I don't know, but the Dorman replacement, you have to change the fuel cap. The original fuel cap that comes with the vehicle, the way it snaps in is different. So I had to actually get a fuel cap replacement on the new filler neck. That particular one is I ordered it for an earlier GM vehicle, like a 1990 Grand Prix is what I put in when I was searching on Advance's website. I just got a cheapie stant one. I mean, a fuel cap's a fuel cap. As long as it's making a good seal, it's all that matters. Now, to change this pump, what I did was I jacked it up. And when I jacked it up down here on the axle, put a jack stand on both sides. Well, I used the pumpkin to jack it. Put a jack stand on each side. Then this splash plate here, I don't know if you're seeing that, but there's some bolts like right there. This splash skid plate has to come off. The tanks are located right up behind the bumper on the 2-door. You drop that skid plate, and then from there, you can actually go ahead and get access to the tank. There's 4 bolts that hold the strap on. There is a backup nut on top of it, so I recommend greasing them down with some penetrating oil in order to get those loose. Get a friend involved. What I did was I used an impact gun and got a backup wrench and had a friend hold the backup wrench while I nailed it with the impact to just make sure life easier. Get a jack and a block of wood underneath that tank and get it secured up against it so when you loosen them straps, the tank doesn't fall down and hit you. The other thing I found useful was, if this is going to help anybody out, is when you do this, make sure you put a jack stand on this side and this side on both left and right side of the tank and position them slightly lower than the tank, maybe like right here. So when you drop the tank down via the jack and you go to release the pressure to lower the jack, the tank just doesn't fall out onto the ground, because that will break the plastic nylon fuel lines that connect to the pump. Now once you do that, you can then reach your arm up in through here and with a light go in there and use both hands. You can disconnect the 3 quick connect lines for the fuel return, the breathing line, as well as the delivery line, and then you can also disconnect the 2 electrical connectors, one for the pressure sensor as well as the actual power to the pump and the information for the sending unit wiring. So once all done, you just repeat the reverse, like I said earlier, you just take the new pump, you slide it down in the tank. We vacuum the top of the tank with a shop vac. You want to try to resist getting any debris down in that tank when you're taking that out, and it's going to have a bunch of dirt and crud on there related to just stuff that gets on there from roads and weather and rust. So clean all that up first so it doesn't fall down into the tank, and then once you pull the old one out, there is a seal, a rubber seal that goes right around here. Now that rubber seal, I had to reuse the old one. I know you guys are probably going to give me hell for that, but the new seal was just so thick it would not fit down in there. I mean, somebody suggested to me I use silicone spray on that to try to, lubricant to try to get it in there, and that's how I eventually got this to push down around the seal. Because when you're pushing this down, you have to really put pressure on it without cracking this plastic top. And once you push that down into the tank, you have to get that snap ring repositioned. Now, there's also a notch right here. That notch on there lines up with a notch that's on top of the metal tank. That has to be aligned in the correct place. So, other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you. If you have any questions, we did manage to do this job. It took us about 4.5, 5 hours, only because this is my first fuel pump that I've done. So, I did a video earlier on my brother's 02 Blazer. I'm going to be doing a fuel pump and sending unit on it as well. This is it out here. It's a little different, though. It has the fuel tank in a totally different location because it is the 4-door model. The fuel tank on this particular bugger is located right up behind the frame here, underneath the driver rear door. So I'm going to try to get down in here and show you. But there's the fuel tank. Bam, right there. So there's the strap. So I'm going to have to figure out how the hell to get to them straps on this side right here. There's the metal strap. So it goes up next to the frame. So I'm going to have to study that a little bit and figure out how we're going to get to those straps. But other than that, that's the next project in line. So other than that, that's pretty much what we're doing. So, and then this summer too, I'm going to try to wind this up because I'm probably running out of memory. This summer we're also going to do probably some how-to videos here. I need to fix a couple rust spots on my rocker panels on this vehicle here on my Blazer. I already painted it and did it all, but I kind of half-assed it because I was in a hurry. And see, just like everybody says, you can't cut shortcuts. This is starting to bubble. It's going to push through eventually, so I need to fix that, and there's a couple more spots. So I'm going to be sanding that down, door glassing it, painting it, and re-clear coating it. I'll show you how to do that too. So other than that, let me know, comment, rate, subscribe, and enjoy. Hope you guys learned something today. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you and let you know what I can do to help you out. Alright, that's all. You guys take care and have a goodie.